Do you live in a two-story home? If so, do you know what the second story of your home is built with? Are you sure? You know, during construction, it's very easy to tell what a house is made of, either concrete block or wood. But once it's completed, it becomes a guessing game. It's practically impossible to tell the difference. Take a look. Now, living in Florida, you may assume that both stories are built from concrete block, but that would be a dangerous and costly assumption. Hi, I'm Chris, and today I want to explain why all homeowners should be wary of a second story built with wood. Let's start by talking to an expert. Dan, I'm Chris.
Hey, Chris. Nice to meet you, sir.
Nice to meet you, too. Thanks for taking some time to speak with me. They tell me you're the guy to talk to. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself and what it is you do?
Well, I'm the owner of Chase Construction. Been doing it for about 35 years. We're all here in Central Florida.
Right. New construction only?
New and more remodel than new.
So it sounds like you focus on repairs and renovations. Is it safe to assume that a lot of those repairs and renovations are done on two-story homes in which the second story is made of wood?
The majority is 80% of my work has been second story renovation, repairs to damaged wood.
All right, then you're definitely the person I need to be talking to. I am trying to get educated on the pros and the cons, I guess, between building a second story with concrete block and building with wood. Can you educate me on that?
Well, the only pro on building with wood is it's quicker. And that's what it seems that everybody's going with because they can get it done in a hurry. But with that, there's a lot of complications. And one of the hardest to deal with are all the connections that we have to use on wood construction because every joint has to be reinforced. And we got a whole catalog here of the different types of connection and metals and straps that they have. And every time you got a wood-to-wood joint, you got to have a connector. And you see all the holes that are in there. So it's very critical that these are spaced correctly, the right amount of nails, the right length of nails. But the downside of that is when you start putting these at the tail end of rafters and stuff that are made out of yellow pine, all those nails are blowing apart the wood.
Oh boy.
And so now you've got the weak link is you got the connector in there, but now the wood has been fractured.
So it sounds to me like you're saying that a house is only as strong as its weakest connector, weakest link.
Absolutely.
Well, Dan, what does all this mean for homeowners out there who do have a two-story home, the second story of which is built with wood?
They need to be educated on how their house is built from the ground up. And over time, they're going to be calling me because they're going to have damage to their home based on weather, the wind, the rain. And over time, it's going to break down the actual components, and that's when I get a call. I've made a tremendous amount of money doing repairs on homes of wood framing and especially second floor wood framing.
So considering the fact that you've got a more skilled, experienced crew when you're building from top to bottom with concrete block, is it safe to say that you've got something that's going to be mistake-proof?
It's about as mistake-proof as you can get. You got to realize you've got the weight of the concrete, all the block products, and you've got the high strength, the high shear. It's well superior over wood framing.
You've seen it all, and you've done it yourself. You mentioned wind and rain. First thing that comes into my mind when you talk about that is safety, living in a concrete structure. Can you talk about the differences between wood and concrete when it comes to weathering hurricanes?
2017, we had Irma up the West Coast. Then we had Michael in 2018.
Oh, yeah.
And all the wood structures that were in their path took a beating.
Concrete block fared better?
Concrete block didn't move. It took the punch. The wood frame was sitting on top of it. It was torn off.
Right.
But the masonry walls were still there.
Well, obviously, concrete is structurally more sound. That is the way to go. But there may be other concerns and risks that homeowners need to know about when it comes to building a second story made of wood. Dan, if you've got time, I'd like to take you with me to a second location. We've got another expert we want to talk to about those
things. Be happy to
things.
do that.
Thank you very much.
Can
I help you carry something?
Nah, I got it all.
All right. I made it.
Hey, man. How you doing? Good to see you again.
Fine. Tim, how are you?
Pretty good.
Boy, you weren't kidding. You're doing this right. I see concrete on the top and the bottom
How you
floor.
like that? All the way to bearing.
Tim, Dan was just explaining to me a few moments ago about some of the advantages from a structural standpoint of concrete versus wood, especially on the second floor here in Florida. Obviously, it's stronger, it's going to be safer, there's more wind resistance, and we talked about hurricanes. As a Florida homeowner who may have a second floor made of wood, are there other things to be concerned about?
How much time do you have?
Well, judging from where the sun is, we got a couple of hours. I hope it doesn't take that long.
Well, the other big risks I tell someone about are mold, fire, and termites.
Mold, fire, and termites. Not three things that I typically talk about in the same conversation, but let's start, I guess, with mold.
Wood is highly susceptible to mold. And the one thing you have to remember is that there's always, always, always minor leakage. Construction has improved over the last few years, but there is no tight finish for wood.
All right, so water is going to find its way in, but assuming it does, why is concrete a better alternative?
It's not a problem for concrete. Concrete is not a food for mold.
I see.
Mold won't grow there.
And you can't say that about wood.
Correct.
Okay, let's see, what was next on the list? Fire risk?
Well, that's easy. Wood is combustible. Don't have a chance. Concrete block, you can't touch it. Another good example is insurance companies are giving discounts when you got a house that's predominantly built out of concrete block.
That's a good point. So not only is concrete block more fire resistant, but you're also going to save some dollars on the cost of home ownership.
Big time, yeah.
If
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
doesn't prove which has the lower risk, I don't know what does.
The insurance companies know how to do that, right? So that leaves us with, termites.
Oh, my favorite word. I have made a ton of money in my 35-year career doing restorations. Termites do a tremendous amount of damage.
Especially here in Florida, I guess.
Absolutely.
Very educational and helpful. Guys, thank you so much
Good
for
talking
your
with you,
time.
Chris. Yes.
Dan, Tim,
Good to see you again.
appreciate it
Come over
very
here,
much.
Tim, I want to show you something.
So according to our experts, Dan and Tim, and they've convinced me, it's just as risky to build the second story of your home with wood as it is to build the entire home out of wood. I say don't leave anything to chance. Protect your home from wind and hurricane damage, mold, fire, and termites. Whether you're building or buying, ask for concrete block from top to bottom. Hey guys, I'm right behind you.